Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is my 12th video and no, that's 17, 12th video. And today I thought, in honor of the season and the month, I'd talk about books. I'm a huge reader. I read every day, anything and everything really. So I'm gonna tell you what I've read this month and what I'm still to read this month, and then once I've got a list of about 7 or 8 books on here. Quite a fast reader. Some of these books I've made a list. So some of these books are on Kindle Unlimited, and if you have that, you'll be able to get them for free. I say free, you pay for it. Obviously, I've got a subscription to Kindle Unlimited, which is about £9 something a month, less than £10. I don't know if that's just if you have Amazon Prime, or if that's the price if you don't, or if you can get it if you haven't got it. I'm not sure. Anyway, so I have Amazon Prime and I also have Kindle Unlimited. So some of these books, I'm going to tell you the list, and I'm going to start with the books that I've already read this month. I've read them definitely in October. So the first book that I've read, I'm going to read from the list, is called The Pumpkin Spice Cafe. This book is by Laurie, Gilmore, and it was the TikTok Shop Book of the Year 2024, or a Book of the Year. I'm not sure how many Books of the Year TikTok has. I'm not on TikTok. And a Sunday Times and USA Today bestseller. So this book is described as a spicy small town romance, and what they mean by that is there's a little bit of smut, spice, you know what I'm saying, in the book, and I quite like that in a book. I've got to be honest. I don't like it when that is the book. Like, I'm not a 50 Shades of Grey fan at all, mainly because, well, I'm not going to go down that route. So I know when I was at work and that book came out, the whole office was raving about it, but I didn't really like the writing in that book. So, and it's strange because I'm not a book snob. I will literally read anything and everything as long as it's got a half decent plot, half decent characters. I'm up for it. I don't mind the odd trope. So anyway, back to the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. So it's about Jeannie, who's a young woman. She lives in Boston and she's worked for the same company for a good few years. And one day she goes into the office. She's an admin assistant at the boss of the company, and she basically makes his life easier. And she brings him coffee in the morning. She goes into his office and she finds him dead. And so she's horrified. She's really worried, not just about her boss, but because he had a stressful life and she doesn't want that for herself. And so she decides that she's going to move away from Boston and make a new life elsewhere. As luck would have it, her aunt owns a cafe in the small town. It's called Dream Harbour. And she moves to Dream Harbour and she takes over the running of her aunt's cafe. Her aunt's gone on an extended trip, and so she basically gifts Jeannie the cafe, and Jeannie starts running the cafe, and she makes a new life in Dream Harbour. And the whole romance bit of it is she meets a gorgeous but grumpy farmer. It's a bit of a sunshine versus grumpy man type trope, this one. And anyway, so she meets Logan, who's a farmer, and he's not up for getting together with somebody who's new in town, because that happened before, and he proposed and the whole town saw him propose, and his ex-girlfriend ran away. So he's not up for meeting or going out with anybody new in town, because he thinks that they're just there for the time being and they'll leave again. And he's got issues with people leaving him because his dad left him when he was a child, and his mum sadly died. He was brought up by his grandparents. Anyway, so hijinks ensue. So that's the story of the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. I'll show you a picture of what the cover looks like. because obviously I don't have the physical copies of these books because I read them on Kindle. So that's a copy of the Pumpkin Spice Cafe. That's what it looks like. If you want to buy it in the shops, that's what you're looking for. So the second book that I read is called Unbound by Shadows, and it's by Unbound by Shadow. It's by someone called Avalon Griffin. Okay, so this book is a fantasy. It's set in an alternate dimension, a fairy world, fairy story. I like fairy stories. So this story is about Celine, and Celine is another woman who in her life, she's basically Mrs. Fix-It. She fixes everything so that everybody can have an easy life. She oils the wheels of so many people in her life. So her mother was basically an alcoholic, and her father's an absent father. She's got 2 younger siblings, twins, and she's got a deadbeat boyfriend who expects her to do everything for him and complains about it. And he's a musician, so he said to her that he wanted a break from the relationship while he went on tour. And so she goes away for the weekend with her sister, and she and her sister go out for a walk, a hike one day. Her sister goes off to do some photography because that's what her sister does. She goes off to photograph the sunrise, and Celine falls through a puddle into another dimension. So she doesn't know what's going on at first. Obviously, she thinks that maybe she's fallen and she's not quite sure if this is real or not. So she sees this, like a cat person, come towards her, and she starts chatting to this person. And it turns out that she's fallen into this dimension, to this place called Aurelia. And, well, there are queens. It's a matriarchal society, and there are several queens, and anyway, the long and short of it is she meets this man who's not a man, he's a vengeance demon. And she meets this vengeance demon, and he's tasked with getting her to this place to try and get this stone that could take her back or take him back to his dimension or whatever. Anyway, hijinks ensue with them too. I liked it. I would give both these books, the Pumpkin Spice Cafe and Unbound by Shadows, I would give them a solid 3 out of 5. Readable, quick reads, easy-osy, autumn nights, cozy. Yeah, so this is what Unbound by Shadows looks like. If you want to get that, I think it's a duology maybe. I'm not sure. So there might be others in that thing, but I don't know whether I'll read anymore. So they were both on Kindle Unlimited. So free if you pay your £9 a month. I say free, they're not free, but you know what I mean. Then the third one I read was also kind of like a in this world, out of this world kind of story, and this story was called Phantasma. And it's by an author called Kaylie Smith or Kaylie Smythe. And so this story is it starts in New Orleans, so already spooky vibes, isn't it? So anyway, so the story follows a girl called Ophelia Grimm. Ophelia is a legacy necromancer. If you don't know what that is, it's somebody who can speak with the dead in stories, right? I'm not saying I believe in that. I'm just saying that in the story, she can speak with the dead, and she has recently come into her powers because her mother died suddenly. And her mother was a necromancer, and when she died, she kind of magically passed her powers on to Ophelia, and so Ophelia is now going to be the town necromancer. So what happens are clients are supposedly going to come to her, ask her to contact their dead ones, and she's going to be able to do that. So anyway, so her, and she has a younger sister, her name's Genevieve. Genevieve and Ophelia go to after somebody dies, they're going to speak to the undertaker, etc., to do with her mother's body. And anyway, on the way back, they bump into somebody who's come to their home, which is Grim Manor. They've come to their home. They're from the bank, and they say that her mother has taken out some loans on the bank, on the house, and that if they can't pay what they have to on this loan, then they're going to foreclose on the house and take the house away from them. So they're horrified. So anyway, the next day, Ophelia gets up. She is so worried about the house. She's worried about doing this necromancing thing, and she's worried that she won't be able to do it like her mother could. And so she looks for her sister, and it becomes evident that her sister's nowhere in the house. She goes into her sister's room, and because of what she finds in her sister's room, she thinks that her sister has joined this game. Now this game is it seems to me to be the kind of like a the kind of game where you go into a house, you have to answer questions, or a room, like a panic room game, sort of. So you go into this house, which is Devil's Manor. The game is run by devils, and her mother's always told her, stay away from devils, don't have anything to do with devils, because in this world they are real. So anyway, so she goes to the game, and she goes to Devil's Manor, and the game is called Phantasma. So in order to win at Phantasma, you have to pass through these 7 levels, obviously the 7 levels of hell, Dante's Inferno, right? So she goes into the game hoping that her sister's in the game, and she'll be able to talk to her sister and they'll be able to get out. Anyway, that's not what happens. She joins the game, and she has to stay in the game and win the game. She doesn't see her sister because all the people in the game are broken up into little groups, and the groups are separated. So she can't see her sister. She has no idea where she is, so she has to play the game. She kind of teams up with this phantom who has made her a deal, and who makes her a deal. So they will help her if she does something for them, and the game ensues. So also a bit spicy, I've got to say, and so was the previous one. All these have been a bit on the spicy side. So if you like that kind of thing, you like these books, I think, because I liked them. Yeah, I think Phantasma was a bit more on the scary side, but not massively so. I didn't find it massively so, but you can judge yourself. If you read the blurb and it's not for you, then fine. But I'd give it a solid 3 out of 5. And the spice in them is something I could tolerate. And if you don't like it, just flick past it, because that's what I do sometimes. I'm just like, oh, I can't have another page of this, and I'll just flick it over. So anyway, that's that. The next book, from now I haven't read any of these books. These are the books I still have to read this month. And then, I'll show you a picture of Phantasma. It's kind of, it does look horrible. It looks horrible. Kind of horrible, but I feel like it's New Orleans. What do you expect? So anyway, the next book, I'm looking forward to this book, is called Agatha Christie's Autumn Chills. This book is a compilation of short stories by Agatha Christie. So the autumn themed mysteries, and there are 12 supernatural mysteries in this book, and I'll read the list of what the 12 short stories are, so you can tell whether you fancy it or not. Maybe I'm late to the party, maybe everybody's read this and I just haven't. So I'll tell you, they feature Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple and other detectives that you have grown to know and love from Agatha Christie. So the 12 short stories are Murder in the Mews, The Case of the Rich Woman, While the Light Lasts, Triangle at Rhodes. I thought somebody was coming in there, but they're not. Death by Drowning, The Bird with the Broken Wing, the Lee Materia Inheritance. Sorry, I've never read that word before, so I'm not sure if I said it right. If it's your last name, sorry about that if I butchered it. The House of Lurking Death, Tape Measure Murder, The Voice in the Dark, 420 Blackbirds, and Witness for the Prosecution. So they're the 12 books, the short stories that make up Agatha Christie's Autumn Chills, and this is what that looks like. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So the next book on my TBR list, now this one I would definitely read the synopsis before you decide whether you're going to read this or not, because I've got this on my Kindle and it is a Kindle Unlimited book. I think the Agatha Christie is not. You have to buy that book even, for your Kindle. So this book is called The Ninth House. It's by someone called Leigh Bardugo, and I haven't read this because I've been alone at home quite a while, and it sounds a little bit scary, and I don't like to read things that are too scary if I'm alone at home, because I just wouldn't sleep. I'd just be up all night. So because I read most of the time, I read at night. So this is the kind of to begin, okay? But first of all, there's a review by Stephen King. Now, we all know what Stephen King writes, and Stephen King says about this book is that it's impossible to put down. So I don't know. Anyway, so the general gist of the story, but I recommend that you read it the gist of it, the synopsis of it, if you fancy reading this book. It's called Galaxy. Alex Stern is a member of Yale's freshman class, a dropout and sole survivor of a horrific unsolved crime. Alex was hoping for a fresh start, but a free ride to one of the world's most prestigious universities was bound to come with a catch. That's the first bit, but then it goes further and it seems quite scary. So yeah, read that at your own peril. So that's what that looks like, if you want to read that. And then and then I'm quite looking forward to this one as well. So the 7th book on my list is called The Other Bennet Sister, and it's by Janice Hadlow. So this book is about Mary Bennet, the one that everybody is like laughing at, complaining about, thinking she's a drip, saying that she's like just not a very nice person, a bit smug, a bit full of herself. So this I haven't actually ever read modern retellings of Jane Austen, of Pride and Prejudice. Jane Austen is my favourite author. I love Jane Austen. I love all her books, and I have actually read Bridget Jones's Diary, which is obviously an homage to Jane Austen, and so this will be my first one after that I've read. I read that years and years ago, before it was made into a film, like absolute years ago. So this is an homage to Jane Austen, a delightful story in its own right, a life-affirming tale of a young woman finding her place in the world. This is Mary Bennet. So I'm looking forward to that. I feel like Mary Bennet has a bit of, been done the dirty. So let's see what she's like in this book. So let's have a see. What's that? Oh, it's called The Other Bennet Sister by Janice Hadlow. So it looks nice. Cute. And then, so the last book on my TBR list for October is called The Southern Bookclub's Guide to Slaying Vampires, which is so up my alley. Like, I love vampires. So this book is by Grady Hendrix, and I think it's also won awards, and I think I'm really late to this party. So this story is about a woman, an older married woman, not old, not like my age old, but like older with older kids, in an established marriage, living in what is that? Never mind. Anyway, I think it's roadworks or something. Anyway, so she's got a book club, and they discover that there are vampires living in their town, and they set about like doing away with these vampires. As I say, I love vampires. I just think they're such fun. I've read loads of books about vampires. I've read Interview with the Vampire and watched the show. I've watched season 1 of Interview with the Vampire. Loved it. Still got to watch season 2. The latest one, not the old like Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, whatever. No, I have watched that, but this is the latest one it's on. I can't remember the channel it's on, but find it because it's quite good. Horrible but good. Love True Blood. Loved that show. Love Buffy. Buffy is my all-time favorite. Well, I mean, I like Buffy. So, my daughter asked me the question, if you could be a vampire, which vampire, from which show or book or series or whatever, where would you be? Would you be like Bram Stoker's Dracula? Would you be in True Blood? Would you be in Buffy? Would you be in Interview with a Vampire? What would you be in? Only one answer, one correct answer to that. I don't know what that thing is. Sorry, I was just like looking up because I can see carrying on out the window. Anyway, what I did in the shadows, that's what I'd be. The most lame, lazy, useless vampires. That's what I'd be. So anyway, fun. So that's my books. That's my book list. 7 books. I'll list them down below if I can. I haven't done that before, but I'll try. And then what other? Was something else I wanted to talk to you? Oh yeah, there's this. Ooh, I'll show you these in a minute. This is what I read every month. It's called the Almanac, and it's a seasonal guide to 2024. I've had one every year from I think 2017 or something, a long time. So this is October, and in the beginning of each month it gives you a list of dates of events that are on in that month, so you can celebrate them, or you can at least know that they're going to be on that month. So I won't read it out because, you know, you can look if you want. And then, so it's got October in the garden. I'm going to put my glasses on so I can read it. Garden and weather folklore. So it tells you a bit about folklore about the garden. The sea, which is of particular interest to me because obviously I live near the coast and I'm interested in what the tides are doing. So yeah, so that's the sea, and so it gives you the tide timetable for Dover, and then you can add or subtract wherever you live. And the sky tells you what's going on in the sky, the stars, meteor shells and planets. So on the 14th, close bridge of Saturn and the moon. So it's a good planner. Like if you're into watching the stars or the sky, I do have a telescope. I used to look through it years ago. But it's in my attic now. Of course it is. I wouldn't be able to get in there to get it. Anyway, excuse me. And then the sun. It tells you what's happening with the sun. Like on the 2nd, it was the annular eclipse of the sun. The 21st, a solar noon. The sun will reach an altitude of 28 degrees in the London sky and 24 degrees in the Glasgow sky. So that's interesting. It's just interesting information, which I like. And then the moon. They're the phases of the moon for this month. So you look at it and you think, oh yeah, that's what the moon's doing now. New moon, 2nd of October, 1st quarter, 10th of October, full moon, 17th of October, last quarter, 24th of October. So if you're interested in anything to do with the moon, it's in here. Meditations. So that's that. Making a space for October. So this is like little crafts you can do. And it's about, what you can do each month to live by the calendar, basically. Gardening by the moon, garden crafts, like make a little wand. This is nice to do with the grandkids. Nature, the kitchen, nice what's available at this time of the year. Snack of the month, how to make these, little recipe, a folk song. Every month has a little song. it's just interesting. You know, you don't have to do anything. You can just read it and have that, know those things, which I like to know things. So that's it. I love that book. It's interesting. If you want to, you know, if you want to know anything more, just if you want to know anything what happens in November, I'll say that, because I was thinking of maybe doing a series of these videos, because obviously the books that I've just said, I've read half of them and I've still got half to read, but by the end of October they will be long done, and so I can maybe talk about how I found them, and I can tell you what I'm going to read in November. So I'll show you what books that I've got for my grandchildren. I know some of you who watch this channel have grandchildren too. My grandchildren are 1 and 7, and hi Willow watchers. So anyway, this is a book I got for Willow. It's a sticker book. Dolly dressing Halloween party. She's got another Halloween book which I bought her as well. And so it's just got, like, you know, little dolls doing Halloween things, and there's stickers which you can get out and stick and dress the dolls how you want. Which, when I was a little girl, I used to love playing with paper dolls. I'm sure a lot of you did too. We used to get the Bunty magazine or the Mandy magazine or whatever magazine, cut your dolls out, put the clothes on. Loved that. It's a similar sort of thing for today's youth. So got this one. McPumpkin had a farm. Oh. So McPumpkin, who's a lady, had a farm. She did. And on that farm, she had a cat with a meow meow here, a spider with a creepy creep here. Oh my goodness. This morning I had a spider in the bath. I was tired because my husband's not here, and I've been up half the night talking to him, and I had to get the spider out of the bath on my own. That was not fun. But anyway, creepy creep here and a creepy creep there. So she also has a skeleton, a witch, a ghost, a monster. Yeah. So that book, it's a Nosy Crow book by Katrina, Charman and Georgie BIrkett. Cute. Willow likes that. I got that for River, but Willow likes it. River's not that fast because he likes what he likes. He likes Old MacDonald had a farm, E-I-E-I-O. Room on the Broom. We've got another one, a little hardback book of Room on the Broom. Very popular story in our house, and I liked this because it's got like little crafts you can do, how to make a hat, and it's got how to make cheese wands. So I just thought that was cute for the time of the year, and River likes that. He loves red dragons. Obviously we're Welsh, and I told her he's got another book about a red dragon, and he's got this book as well, and I told him that all Welsh children grow up to be red dragons, which he loves the idea of. Can't wait. And so that's that. I don't know whether he understands, he just likes it. So, and then this, we're going on a ghost hunt. Both children will like this. River likes it because it's got these lift the flap. He loves a lift the flap book, and obviously it's based on, we're going on bear hunt, but I think we've got another one of these, maybe an Easter one as well. Yes, run, find a ghost. You find these ghosts in it. So that's cute. This was by Martha Mumford, Sherry Zamazing. So yeah, that's that. So they're the books that I got from my grandchildren this month. And oh yeah, I wanted to show you my t-shirt. So this t-shirt that I'm wearing, it's called Le Corbeau, and it's basically a shout out to the writing of Edgar Allan Poe, which is perfect for October. And I've had this t-shirt for a good few years, and I saw somebody else on the internet wearing a t-shirt like this. I saw Laura Bailey. If you don't know who that is, she is a voice actor and she plays on Critical Role. Critical Role is the campaign, I guess you call that, of D&D. It's a D&D campaign which is on the internet, and so if you don't know, I don't play D&D personally, but my daughter does, and I love watching Critical Role because I love watching D&D. I love watching people play D&D because it's so interesting. It's such fun, and it's because I love storytelling. I love a story, and the thing about Dungeons and Dragons, and like, you know, it's not what you think. Maybe I'm not sure what your impression of that is, but what it is basically a collaborative storytelling. So, and it's very organic because you can't just all think, well, this is how it's going to go, because anything can change with a roll of a dice, which is so exciting. And so, yeah, so that's Critical Role. I'm not shouting out to them because they need me to shout out to them. They have millions of subscribers on YouTube. Yeah, they don't need some old granny to, you know, shouting them out. No, of course not. But I like it. Maybe you like it too. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but give it a go. It's fun. They've also got on Amazon Prime, Amazon TV, they've got a show, an animated show for grown-ups, for adults only. There's lots of language in it, and carrying on. And speaking about spice, there's a bit of spice in this latest one, called The Legend of Vox Machina, which is based on their first campaign that they had on YouTube many years ago now. So yeah, watch The Legend of Vox Machina if that's something that you're into. Autumn nights. Yeah, so I'm gonna go now, and I'll see you next week. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you next week. Bye.